The holidays came and went, and there was no phone call, no surprise visit, no card, not even a text. For Savanah Brown, Janelle's youngest daughter, Christmas morning arrived like any other, but it was marked by a silence that cut deeper than any argument. Her father, Kody Brown, didn't show up, didn't check in, didn't even acknowledge the day. And it wasn't just a one-off mistake. This wasn't a scheduling issue or a missed flight. This was the loud absence of a man who had slowly, deliberately stopped being a father to some of his children. Hi friends, this is Olivia, and welcome back to TLC's Sister Wives Secrets. If you're as heartbroken, angry, or just plain confused by what's happened to the Brown family, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I promise, this one's going to hit hard. Today, we're not talking about a dramatic divorce or a one-time meltdown. This is about something much deeper, something that's unfolded slowly over years, the emotional and moral collapse of Kody Brown's authority as a husband and father. The cracks were always there, but now they're wide open for all of us to see. This isn't just a story about broken marriages, it's about broken trust, broken children, and a man whose love was always conditional. Let's talk about what really destroyed the Brown family. It's hard to forget the quiet heartbreak on Janelle's face when she said it out loud. Kody hadn't even called Savannah on Christmas. Not a word, not a text, nothing. For a teenage girl still grieving the loss of her once close father, that silence wasn't just neglect. It was abandonment. And Janelle, despite always being the calm, reasonable one, looked like she'd finally hit a wall. Because it's one thing to be divorced. It's another to watch your daughter realize her dad just doesn't care enough to show up anymore. And that's the thing about Kody. He always had a presence when it served him. When the cameras were rolling, when there was conflict to stir, or when Robyn's household needed defending, he was there. But when it came time to be a father during the quiet, messy, inconvenient moments, he often disappeared. Savannah's Christmas was just one more chapter in a pattern that started years ago. Remember Ysabel's surgery? A major invasive spine operation all the way across the country. Christine begged Kody to go, but he refused. He claimed COVID protocols made it too risky. But fans couldn't help noticing that while Ysabel was going through literal physical pain, her father prioritized staying near Robyn's home. And Christine, who had reached her emotional breaking point long before, saw it as what it truly was. A choice. He chose to stay away. And Ysabel? She didn't just get surgery. She got a permanent scar where her father should have been. Then there's Garrison and Paydon. Once they were part of the loud, fun, chaotic Brown family, but things soured quickly during the pandemic. Kody imposed his own set of ever-shifting COVID rules, and when his sons questioned them, he lashed out. He accused them of disrespect. He told Janelle they were being irresponsible. Instead of asking how his sons were coping, instead of listening to their needs, he punished them for not falling in line. And eventually, he stopped seeing them altogether. Garrison moved out, bought a house, tried to build his own life without his dad in it. Even Leon, Mary's only child, seemed to quietly drift from Kody's orbit. As Leon embraced their identity and shared more of their personal truth, Kody offered silence. No support, no public affirmation, no visible attempt to reach across that gap. For a man who claimed to want closeness with his kids, he sure made it clear love had to look a certain way to be accepted. Time and again, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Kody's presence wasn't freely given. It had to be earned by agreeing with him, validating him, or staying close to Robyn's circle. And for the children who dared to live honestly or challenge his authority or simply grow up, his love quietly vanished. The damage that leaves, it lingers far longer than a missed holiday. It becomes a question that haunts them. What did I do to lose my dad? Kody's love wasn't something you could count on just because you were his child. It felt like it came with strings attached. If you weren't boosting his ego or fitting into his preferred family narrative, you were basically invisible. And that preferred group was clear: Robyn and her kids. Robyn's family was always at the center. Kody was the doting dad for them, always showing up, always involved. But for the rest, the love was distant, conditional, and sometimes even performative. It wasn't about being present. It was about appearances. If Robyn's kids were physically nearby, Cody made sure to be there. But for the others scattered across different homes or states, that connection frayed fast. It's painful to watch because this wasn't just a man who struggled with time management or distance. It felt like a deliberate hierarchy had been set. Robyn's children got the spotlight, the attention, the so-called family unity, while the biological and stepchildren of Christine and Janelle were left on the sidelines. And the more time went on, the more obvious it became. Robyn herself wasn't just a bystander in this dynamic. She seemed to protect her position fiercely, reinforcing that divide. When Christine expressed hurt or frustration, Robyn often stayed silent or deflected, preserving her own safe space in the family structure. That silence spoke volumes. It wasn't just about individual relationships. It was a system, a family built on favoritism where some children mattered more. For Christine and Janelle, this wasn't just a family drama. It was a betrayal. Watching their children sidelined and ignored while Robyn's family was celebrated was a painful reminder that Cody's love was conditional. And for the children, it wasn't just about missing their dad at events or milestones. It was about internalizing that their worth depended on their relationship with Cody, and if they didn't fit his mold, they were unworthy. This favoritism created tension that rippled through the family. You could see it in the guarded conversations, in the painful silences during gatherings, in the cold distance that wasn't explained away by busy schedules or logistics. It was about control, about who gets to be loved and who gets left behind. The emotional fallout was massive. Children who deserved love and support were left to question their place in the family. Mothers who once believed in the dream were forced to reckon with a reality where their kids were second tier. And Cody? He kept the system intact, wrapped in his version of family harmony, while the emotional fractures deepened. At its core, this favoritism wasn't just unfair, it was damaging. It chipped away at relationships, trust, and self-esteem. And it left everyone wondering, was Cody really the loving father he claimed to be, or just a man holding on to control by loving only those who kept him comfortable? One of the most heartbreaking layers to this whole situation is the way the wives themselves became caught up in the drama, sometimes as victims, sometimes as enablers. Mary, in particular, stands out here. Over the years, her role felt less about sisterly support and more like a shield for Cody's often harsh words toward Christine. Watching Mary side with Cody, especially when Christine was hurting, felt like a painful betrayal. Mary's insecurities were obvious. It seemed like she was desperate for Cody's approval, even if it meant turning against the other women who shared a lifetime of struggles with her. That desperation sometimes made her complicit in keeping the family's fragile facade alive, even if it was cracking under the weight of unspoken pain. Meanwhile, Christine was on a very different path. Her journey was one of awakening and refusal to accept the status quo. She challenged Cody's behavior and called out the emotional neglect not just toward her, but toward their children. Christine's courage to confront the truth made her stand out as someone who refused to be silenced by the old patriarchal rules that kept them all trapped. This divide between the women wasn't just personal. It was a reflection of the family's fractured power dynamic. Mary, shaped by years of internalized patriarchy and fear of losing her place, often acted out of survival. Christine, fueled by a desire for justice and dignity, became the voice of rebellion. The tension between these two women revealed something bigger, the toxic culture Cody had built around himself. It was a culture that pitted sister wives against each other, creating competition instead of solidarity. It pushed them to choose between loyalty to their husband or loyalty to each other, and in many moments, loyalty to Cody came first. Robyn's role in this was also complicated. She positioned herself as the protected wife, the one who had it all together, while others suffered. Her alliance with Cody helped her maintain her place at the top of this uneven family hierarchy. When Christine or Janelle tried to speak out or protect their kids, Robyn's silence or subtle deflections added another layer of emotional isolation for them. This split among the wives made it harder for the family to heal. Instead of coming together to confront the emotional damage, they were caught in a cycle of blame, denial, and fractured loyalties. The women's relationships mirrored the children's experiences. Some were lifted up, while others were left to deal with pain alone. In the end, This female division exposed the fragility of Kody's patriarchal authority. It wasn't a system built on respect or genuine care. It was one held together by fear, control, and carefully managed alliances. And as cracks deepened, those alliances started to crumble, revealing just how lonely and broken the family really was. Kody's way of handling conflict and family expectations often felt like a masterclass in gaslighting. Time and again, when faced with criticism or accusations about his neglect, he would act confused, hurt even with that classic line, "What did I do?" It was like he expected everyone to forget the very real moments when he was absent or dismissive. This wasn't just forgetfulness, it was a deliberate erasure of his accountability. One of the sharpest examples came during the COVID-19 pandemic. The family's rules around gatherings were strict, but strangely selective. Robyn and Cody appeared to use those rules to exclude Mary from family moments, all while preaching unity and love. The hypocrisy was glaring. How could the family claim to be united while purposely leaving out one of the wives? This double standard wasn't just about Mary, it was about control. Robyn, backed by Cody, seemed to hold the family's inner circle tight, and those outside it were left feeling blocked, rejected, and unsafe. The so-called family unity was just a mask for the division and favoritism simmering underneath. That infamous knife in the kidneys moment, when Cody dramatically accused others of attacking him emotionally, became a symbol of how twisted the family dynamics had become. Instead of facing his own failures, Cody framed himself as the victim, turning the tables on those brave enough to call him out. This pattern of blame shifting and manipulation created a toxic atmosphere where truth was twisted and feelings were invalidated. It made it harder for anyone in the family to speak openly or heal because any challenge to Cody's authority was met with denial or deflection. Behind the scenes, this led to deep emotional scars, especially for the children who watched this ongoing battle. They saw the double standards, the selective love, and the protective walls built around some siblings while others were left out in the cold. The gaslighting and manipulation weren't just family drama, they were part of a bigger problem of power and control disguised as love. And for those who lived it every day, it wasn't just painful, it was dangerous. It chipped away at trust and left lasting wounds that no scripted reunion or staged apology could fix. The most powerful voices in this whole story aren't just the wives, they're the children. Over the years, we've seen Hunter, Garrison, Leon, and Peden quietly carrying the weight of their father's absence and emotional distance. Their struggles are real, raw, and heartbreaking. Hunter has openly expressed frustration with Cody's favoritism. He's called out the way his dad seems to prioritize some kids over others, leaving those of Christine and Janelle feeling overlooked. Garrison's struggles were even more visible. His growing resentment toward Cody was clear in the way he sometimes confronted his father. No sugarcoating, just blunt, painful truth. There's no doubt that Garrison's emotional battles and eventual tragic struggles were intertwined with years of feeling unsupported by the man who should have been his rock. Leon, too, has been caught in the middle of this fractured family dynamic. His emotional distance from Cody echoes the same pain we see across the family, longing for a father's love, but facing cold indifference instead. Peden's conflicts with Cody have been another public reminder of the tension bubbling under the surface. Peden has never hidden his dissatisfaction with his father's behavior, especially when it comes to favoritism and neglect. This collective emotional reckoning from Cody's children feels almost like a Greek chorus calling out the failures of a patriarch. Their words, their actions, even their silences speak volumes. They represent the ultimate repudiation of Cody's claim to fatherhood and authority. What's striking is how these young adults refuse to just quietly accept the status quo. Their willingness to speak up disrupts the carefully maintained image of family harmony that Cody tries so hard to project. It's a rebellion against a man whose love felt conditional and transactional, a love that only showed up when it suited him. This isn't just about family drama for TV cameras. It's about real people, real pain, and the consequences of emotional abandonment. These children's voices matter because they remind us that no amount of appearances can cover up the deep wounds left by neglect. For viewers watching this unfold, it's impossible not to feel empathy for these kids. Their stories challenge us to rethink what fatherhood, love, and loyalty really mean, especially in a family where the patriarch's authority is crumbling under the weight of his own mistakes. Now, when it comes to TLC's role in all of this, it's hard not to notice how the network seems to pick and choose which stories to highlight and which to bury. Over the years, TLC has heavily focused on younger family members like Mykelti and Tony. While their stories have their moments, the heavy spotlight on them often comes at the expense of deeper, more important issues, like the emotional trauma experienced by Cody's adult children. This overexposure to some family members, paired with underreporting of real struggles, creates a distorted picture for viewers. Instead of seeing the raw and painful emotional fallout, audiences get caught up in surface-level drama. The network's decisions feel like they prioritize entertainment and ratings over honest storytelling. It's frustrating for fans who want to understand the real dynamics behind the scenes. Mykelti's story, for example, while compelling in its own right, doesn't carry the same weight as the complex, long-standing wounds carried by Hunter, Garrison, and others. Yet, the adults' emotional journeys are often glossed over or just hinted at briefly. This kind of storytelling leaves viewers feeling disconnected and even fatigued. When you're served the same type of drama repeatedly, without deeper emotional context, it starts to feel shallow. The real pain, the family fractures, the long-term damage, those stories deserve attention, but TLC often sidelines them. So, the network's handling of the Browns isn't just about which family members get screen time. It's about shaping a narrative that protects Cody's image while avoiding uncomfortable truths. It's about keeping the audience entertained, but not necessarily informed. As fans, it's important we don't let those real stories get lost. There's a growing impatience with surface-level conflict and manufactured drama. What we need, and what many viewers crave, is honesty, depth, and respect for the emotional reality these family members live with every day. TLC's role here is crucial. They hold the power to expose these hidden wounds or keep them hidden behind carefully crafted scenes. So far, their choices show a preference for spectacle over substance, leaving many questions unanswered and many feelings unaddressed. Kody Brown's collapse as the family's patriarch wasn't just about marriages ending or households breaking apart. It runs much deeper than that. At the heart of it all is a refusal to love without conditions, to be present without demands, to put his children and wives before his own ego. His downfall didn't come from divorce itself, but from how he wielded control, how he measured love with favoritism and neglect. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Did Kody ever truly want a family? Or was it always about holding power, being the man in charge, even if it meant breaking the very people he claimed to care about? Think about that, and let me know what you feel in the comments below. If you're new here, I'm Olivia with TLC's Sister Wives Secrets. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss the real stories behind the scenes. Your thoughts and feelings mean so much. Drop them below and let's keep this conversation going.